Hello, welcome to the Joy Business Report. Welcome everyone. In our headlines this morning, rating agency Fitch forecasts Ghana would receive a positive rating again if it reaches an agreement with private creditors on the restructuring of external debt. Also coming up, Ghana's High Commissioner to the UK discloses that decision to sign onto an International Monetary Fund program has unlocked investment potentials for Ghana. And in our business journal today, we'll tell you how Ghana is failing to take advantage of the horticultural market due to contaminated water and lack of incentives. Details coming up. Thanks for being with us. Hello to our friends listening on KTU Radio from Koforidua. First up, Ghana's decision to sign on to an IMF program has helped to unlock UK government's financial support for some ongoing projects in the country. That's according to Ghana's High Commissioner to the UK and Ireland, Papa Usankuma. He says that the UK government is one of the first donor partners to support Ghana even before the first IMF review program is completed.
If your economy is considered unstable, it scares investors. And so this IMF program has helped and gives confidence to investors and even to those who are lending money to private enterprises in Ghana. And of course, even for the UK, because the UK has facilities for local UK firms investing in Ghana. Yes, so they have, and that is what is being used to do a couple of projects. I think the market in Kumasi, the Kumasi airport and so forth. Yes, that is also another strategy that the UK is using to assist, so that if they have access to some of these things being done in Ghana, then they will advance them resources at a lower rate than the market rate, and that is also another strategy.
Ghana's High Commissioner to the UK and Ireland, Papa Usankuma there. That's a repeat of PM Express Business Edition this morning at 11 on the Joy News channel. Now, the Association of Ghana Apparel Manufacturers is unhappy about high taxes in export facilitation of apparel in the country. According to President of the association, Nura Salifu, this has taken a toll on operations. She called on the Ghana Exim Bank to support the association in its quest to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Ms. Salifu spoke to Joy Business at the launch of an action plan by the garment manufacturers.
I think that access to finance is one of the areas that we think the government needs to look at because we do have the capacity to be able to employ, we have the capacity to be able to produce and export. And you know what happens once our nation is able to export. It has this ripple effect. And so the garment industry is one of the industries that has not been overlooked, but we think that we haven't gotten the attention that we need.
You had Nura Salifu there, President of the Association of Ghana Apparel Manufacturers. Energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Suleiman has urged African leaders to remain resolute in ensuring the African Continental Free Trade Area becomes a game changer for development. Dr. Suleiman was reacting to the World Bank's warning that oil prices could hit $150 a barrel as a result of the escalating Israel-Hamas conflict, and that could result in inflation going high in developing countries.
What I would urge is that we have the right conduit, and AFTAC is number one. If you have AFTAC and it works very well, then, trade barriers are broken, trade barriers are seamlessly, trade restrictions are seamlessly removed. I think it's going to help a lot. Because if we begin to trade among ourselves, and most of this external impact, we're not going to feel it.
Energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Suleiman are there. British Airways says it has stepped up engagement with the government over what it describes as the rising cost of operations at the Kotoka International Airport. Ghana is said to be one of the countries in West Africa with high airport taxes and charges. According to the airline, reviewing the charges can help reduce ticket prices. Neil Alan Chernov is the chief officer in charge of planning and strategy and has been speaking with Joy Business.
It is very expensive operating into and out of Accra Airport. That usually comes down to what landing fees might be, any taxes that might get paid, and also the cost of fuel. And the other thing you sometimes hear around the region is around the repatriation of anything that you sell locally.
Have you stepped up your engagement with the government at the B2B level, at that governmental level, to ensure that this is done?
Post-pandemic, I think we've been doing a better job of engaging with the local authorities.
Chief Officer in charge of Planning and Strategy at British Airways, Neil Allen Chernoff. You are listening to the Joy Business Report. Now to one of our top stories this morning. Rating agency Fitch says Ghana would receive a positive rating again if it reaches an agreement with private creditors on the restructuring of foreign currency-dominated external debt. According to the UK-based organization, it will assign a long-term foreign currency issuer default rating based on a forward-looking assessment of Ghana's willingness and capacity to honor its foreign currency debt. Here's more.
Fitch said once Ghana completes its external debt restructuring, it will get an improved rating. This will enable it to return to the international market to borrow in the medium term. The country's rating was improved to CCC from restricted default after completing its domestic debt exchange program. Fitch, however, warned that renewed liquidity pressures as a result of significant delays in the external debt restructuring process will increase the probability of further restructuring. Meanwhile, Fitch adds that the country's ceiling for Ghana is B-. For sovereigns rated CCC+ and below, it assumes a starting point of CCC+ for determining the country's ceiling.
Next, Ghana has been lagging behind many countries in the export of flour, though it has abundant potential to earn the country more foreign exchange. Today on the Business Journal, we take a look at how the country is failing to take advantage of the horticultural business as a result of contaminated water and unavailability of dedicated land for cultivation.
For 16 years, floriculturist Samson Kofi Anab has been cutting, cultivating, and nursing flowers. The best site for his plants is along the roads, mainly to attract buyers. But he has a challenge with space to cultivate his flowers. Land accessibility remains daunting.
I have been ejected from 3 locations.
Insecure access to land has moved some floriculturists to farm in wetlands. Elizabeth Boatin nurses her plants near the Oda River at Kwamo.
I fetch water from the river to nurse my flowers.
The wetlands are, however, being redeveloped for residential purposes. Elizabeth has been driven away by the landowners. Both Samson and Elizabeth lack water for irrigation purposes.
We constructed
a well, but it got filled with mud and dried up during the dry season.
I wish I had access to pipe-borne water.
People like Samson spent 14,000 Ghana cedis to construct a water pump, but he is running at a loss. He is affected by inconsistent water supply by the Ghana Water Company Limited. Though other floriculturists wish to farm near wetlands, experts advise location of gardens should not be a disadvantage to business operations. Rather, cultivating in wetlands may pose a risk to plants which may decrease their export potential. Mrs. Hannah Adraku is senior lecturer at the Horticultural Department at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
If your intentions are to put your plants together and export them, then you have problems because sometimes the water may be contaminated and then you introduce some pest or some disease onto the plants. And as soon as it gets over there, there's inspection and they notice that you have such pests on your plants or on your flowers, it will be rejected.
The case at the Department of Parks and Gardens in Kumasi is no different from other floriculturists. The department is mandated to improve rapid development of horticultural potential of urban and rural sectors of the country. But location, land tenure challenges, and access to water have failed to make the industry attractive to investors.
right, the weekend activated. Mona Lisa Frimpong